My name's Amber Love, and today I'm talking about the sixth gun from the first 6 issues. And this is from Oni Press. It's written by Cullen Bunn, and the artwork is by Brian Hurt. That's Hurt with 2 T's, in case you're trying to look it up. Now, these first 6 issues really set up who the characters are and the entire universe that the sixth gun takes place in. I did feel that the first few issues were a little bit slow paced, only because then as we get to around issue 4, it picks up so dramatically that the pacing is like suddenly changed. Now, comics don't need to be all action all the time, but what we have here is a story about protagonists who have objects and antagonists that are after these objects. So it's this constant chase, and you do expect some action, and as a reader you expect your heart to be racing along with your characters. Now, I did fall in love with these characters, in particular Drake Sinclair. Now, not so much with the female lead, Becky, but I felt that Drake had much more dimension and depth to him. He's one of the original owners of the evil guns, and they were crafted by General Hume, who is like evil beyond belief, and he's sort of the creepy, almost Scooby-Doo-like, villain in this. He comes back from the grave and is after them. So Drake is on his own path of redemption. Started out as a bad guy, ends up as kind of a good guy. And I just think that his part of the story was, much more involved, had a lot more depth to it, and I found him really interesting as a character. Now, the revolvers themselves, there should be a total of 6 of them from what I understand, and each one is engraved with its own unique symbol. And it appears that each gun also has a sort of supernatural power to it. Now, it really wasn't clear, and maybe that's a problem with the artwork, maybe it's a problem with the storytelling, I'm not sure. But it seemed that possessing, one gun gave you the command of doing certain things, like, drawing zombies or crafting almost zombie-like creatures out of the earth. So, I just think that part could have been a bit more clear. Now, in order to get a gun, the way that you do that is the current owner has to die. So there are all these sort of rules with where the guns are and who has them and who has control of them. So as far as the story goes, when the guns are brought together, this I don't think is too much of a spoiler, but when they're brought together, they actually form a type of key to a particular vault. And it's not a vault to the treasure that you're sort of used to. So that part of the story I really love, because then, it's later on in the story, we're getting this really, really fast pace, and it pauses when our characters get to this place called the Maw, which is a prison that General Hume had created. And it was apparently full of so much misery that the earth actually started to fall out from beneath it and formed this sinkhole, and the vault is in the bottom. A little bit like Lost, I guess. It's like, poof, there's a vault. So I just think the timing worked really, really well with bringing an emotional element back to the story, because it started out emotional, got really, really fast paced, and it paused just briefly at this prison. And then we get into my problems with the visuals, okay, and I'll explain why. The artwork overall is very good, and I was happy with it, but there were a couple of glitches that I just got hung up on certain panels. There's a gigantic 100-foot tall Thunderbird monster coming at the whole group, and there's a stagecoach with people inside, and one of them doesn't even look the least bit frightened or shocked or anything, and he really should have had some expression, and he didn't. Okay, so that's just honestly a little gripe, but it was something that I noticed and took time looking at. And then there's another detail where in the panel, Drake Sinclair is now supposed to have gotten, all of these guns by the end of it, and I was counting, and, maybe it's just me, but I was pretty sure there were supposed to be 6 revolvers, and on him, I counted 7. So, I didn't want to spoil too much by telling you that, but on the other hand, I kind of think that I needed to tell you in order to explain what I thought was wrong with the art details. Now, my biggest part visually that I had a problem with is that I was reading these issues digitally, and that's a big mistake. There are so many double-page spreads that you will start setting up, panel 1, panel 2, oh look, panel 2 is supposed to continue over past the crease into the next page. Well, how do I get there? Well, I have to scroll down, I have to find where it picks up. Oh, look, there's her arm. There's the rest of the caption. And then, keep reading and then go back up. Read the second row of panels and then back down and continue the panels. And it was just this constant flip-flopping. It was really irritating, especially by issue 6, where I'm not kidding you. After the first page, every single set of pages is double page spreads. So I think that this is something that all creators are going to have to start thinking about as we move into digital distribution. I don't know how all of the platforms are going to work. Perhaps they're going to take that into account and display things correctly for you. I don't really know. I was looking at PDFs, and I think that this book will be much more enjoyable in a trade paperback, because I believe the first issue I did get was for Pre-Comic Book Day, which most of you probably have seen as well. So to highlight it, Cullen Bunn might not be a familiar household name right now, but when it comes to supernatural westerns, I'm sure he will be, because The Sixth Gun will definitely be something you'll be hearing, I guarantee it, if you're into supernatural westerns. That happens to be a really hot, trendy topic and genre right now. So keep your eye out for it. In today's previews that came out, they're already soliciting up to issue 10, so it looks like we're going to get another good-sized chunk of story. And if you have any questions, comments, feedback, to leave them below. Thanks for joining me, and be sure to always check out amberunmasked.com for more.